guys, it's Londyn and today I have a book review for you. And this book review is called Creed and it is by Trisha and Lindsay Currie. And I want to thank Benjamin of Tomes for introducing me to this book. I had watched one of his videos, I think it was like his favorite books or something like that, and he had just talked this book up about just how great it was and how it was kind of like Carrie-esque by Stephen King, and I was like, okay. So I decided that I wanted to pick it up, so I bought it from Book Depository, got it, and yeah. So, let me just tell you, Creed, the synopsis is very simple. It's just 3 of us went in, 3 of us came out, none of us even a shadow of who we once were. So, yeah. So, I keep saying so. What is the deal with that? Oh my gosh. Okay, so the book, there you go, another so. The book is about 3 teenagers, and it is about 2 brothers and a girl. The girl is the girlfriend of one of the brothers, and they are on their way in upstate to New York to a concert for the girl and the guy's anniversary. And the reason why the other brother is even coming is because they basically lied to their parents, and they needed the older brother to come with them because he was part of the lie. So he was basically like told the girlfriend, if I'm gonna lie for you about what we're doing this weekend, then I want to be able to come to the concert with you and my brother, which was kind of a tart on his part because you know that they're going for their anniversary and that it's a surprise for your brother, but here you are kind of like ruining the mood. But whatever. I mean, I guess they're teenagers anyway, so there really should be no mood to ruin, but that's neither here nor there. That's a topic for another day. So they're in this car, they're on the way to upstate New York. The oldest brother knows that they're going to the concert, the girlfriend knows they're going to the concert, but the boyfriend has no idea what they're doing. He just knew he had to pack a bag and that they're going somewhere, but this is like his favorite band, and they're going to stay at a hotel. It's going to be like supposed to be romantic with him and his girlfriend. So, you know, his girlfriend's basically clock watching. You know, while they're on the freeway, she keeps looking at the clock because they're supposed to be there at a certain time. She knows when the band's gonna go on, but there's a lot of traffic, so she's like really becoming panicky because she doesn't want to miss anything, because you know how it is when you plan a surprise for somebody and clearly you know what's going on, so you're just like, oh god, when are people gonna get here? You know, when's the taxi gonna get here? When's this? And the other person has no idea what's going on, so like, why are you being so fanatical about things? But it's because you know what is planned. Well, she says, hey, why don't we get off the main road and take some back roads and we can get there faster. If anybody has ever seen any sort of horror movie, rule number 1, never take back roads. And I don't know if any of you guys have been to upstate New York, but I was actually born in upstate New York, in between Buffalo and Rochester, in a tiny town called Batavia. And upstate New York is nothing like New York City. It is very much like the South as far as it's a farmland. It's unless you get to big cities like Buffalo, Rochester, a lot of it is kind of like very desolate, grassy, a lot of farming, small to medium populations of these towns. So it's not someplace that if you don't know where you're going, you really want to get off the back roads. You really want to stay on the freeway because, yeah. So they get off the freeway and they end up needing some gas. So they stop at a gas station. They get candy and they get chips and they get soda. They don't get gas. It's because they're kids, and kids shouldn't be having romantic moments, nor should they be lying to their parents, nor should they be taking back roads. So, yeah. So they're going. About an hour into their road trip on the back roads, they realize that they're running out of gas. And they're like, freak, it is also starting to snow. And it's like, what do we do? Do we turn around and try to make it back to the gas station or what? Well, the choice is made for them because the car stops and they have to make a decision. Do we walk back to the gas station and get some gas to come put in the tank, or do we try to go forward because there's a town up ahead, a couple miles, and see if they have a gas station that's closer, someone that can help us? So ultimately, because it's snowing and since the car's not running, they would end up freezing in the car anyway, they make the decision to walk to the town up ahead. Number 2, small towns and desolate upstate areas. Don't do it. So as they get closer and closer to this town, and of course the girlfriend is super irritated at this point because she just is clock watching and is just like, we're not going to make it in time now. So she's really, really pissed about this. So as they get closer to town, there's these sirens, like tornado sirens going, like my sound effects, going off. And they're kind of like, wow, what's going on? There doesn't seem to be a storm. Why are the sirens in this town going off? And there's no people around, like nobody. So it's kind of like, well, where did all the people go? And these sirens are going off. So they're just like, okay, whatever. So they see a gas station. They try to get some gas from it. But of course, it's one of the gas stations where you have to pay inside and the clerk has to turn the pump on for you. However, there's no clerk inside. The register is locked. It's just going from bad to worse. So they say, okay, well, let's just walk up to some of the houses. And the first thing they notice is that all the houses look exactly the same. Same manicured yard. They have the exact same mailbox. They have the exact same colored house. They're carbon copies of each other, which they all find very weird and strange. But they're like, let's just find somebody, let's get some gas, and let's get out of Dodge. So they go into a house, which the door happens to be open. You never go into a house where the door just happens to be open. Okay. So they get in there and they're like, wow, nobody's here, but it's warm inside. There's a fire, it's not cold like it is outside. And they see at the table is set for 3 and it has food out, but it looks like somebody just left in a rush. So they're just like, I wonder where they went. So what do? They decide that they're just going to sleep here in this random house overnight because that's not weird. That's not strange. That's not like, asking to die. So they're there, and that's when the shenanigans happens. Basically, they end up leaving the house and literally running into somebody who has more on his plate than they knew. They end up realizing that this town is just bananas, like bat crazy. This is some straight up like Carrie, Stephen King. If I didn't know better, I would think that this was a Stephen King novel, because from that point on, from the point that they stay the night at that house and they literally run into somebody when they come outside, like run into the person, things just go haywire. I'm talking about like religious fanaticalness starts happening, kidnappings. The whole book, it actually is very scary. Like, I'm not easily scared by books because it's YA. I mean, come on now. Come on. But this was like very like, especially in today's day and age when you watch like 2020 in the news, like all the like fanatical little towns you see around the country. Like, it's just like, wow, this could really happen. Like, it was just from bad to worse. It's like they lied to their parents. So their parents don't even think that they're in upstate New York on the way to a concert. So their parents won't even notice them being gone for at least 2 to 3 days, because their parents think there's somebody somewhere totally else spending the night at people's houses. So it's just like, God, you have 2 to 3 days before anybody even notices you're missing. Then they didn't know where you were going, so they're not even going to know where to look. And then there's the weirdest things happen in this book where you're just like I literally, like, my mouth was like dropped open. Like, I always refer back to TV shows, how TV shows never show a kid getting killed. They always, like, allude to it, like, show the gunshot and then the kid just on the floor, but they never actually show it happening. And then there are some shows that just take it way out there and do it, but for the most part, they never show that type of stuff happening, you know what I mean? In books, there's certain things that don't happen, like graphic killings or tortures or certain characters, things happening to them, and you're like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen with this, because books just don't do that. No, books do. There is a portion in this book that I was just like, there's no way that's going to happen to that character. Like, come on now, that's not going to happen. And when they go to see that character, I was like, wow, they really did that to that character, and they did it to them in that way. Okay, like, I was totally freaking creeped out. Like, oh my God. And I was just like, oh my gosh, are they ever going to get out of this town? Like, oh my God, things are just going so bad. It's like everywhere they turn, there's like a robot person that's like trying to like capture them and turn them into these like religious fanaticals and keep them in this town that, oh my gosh, it was so weird. I mean, it was very If you liked House of Wax, that movie, it was very House of Waxy. It was very like Strange Town, but then everywhere you turned, secretly people were watching you, and then slowly people in your party start just disappearing. Yeah, so I was just like, it was so creepy, and the ending was even creepier. When the ending happened, I was like, wait, so what I read, was it the way I read it, or was it not the way that I read it? Like, it makes you question what you just read the same way the characters are questioning what they've just been through. And it was just such a good book. I read it in one sitting. I flew through this. I think it maybe only took me 2.5 hours to read. It was just that good of a book. I mean, you know me, I don't bend my spines. I bent this bad boy. I was eating and I was reading because I just could not let this book go. It was just so, so, so good. So if you guys are looking for like a Halloween book, definitely pick this book up. You will not be disappointed. Again, Benjamin of Tomes has talked about this book. He is right. It is absolutely fantastic. It is scary. It is weird. It is just mind-blowing. Like, oh my gosh, this, wow, okay, yeah, they are really good writers, because this was a really good book. Like I said, if you like House of Wax, you will definitely like this. If you like stories about, if you like stories about like towns that seem to all be brainwashed, and they're trying to brainwash other people and kidnap people and make you see their way any way that they can, then you will definitely like this book, because it was just really good. And I definitely gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. This is a book that I will definitely be rereading again in October, even though I know what happened. It's just that good. My heart literally pounded through this whole book. So I was like, you guys are so stupid. Don't do it. Don't go in the room. Don't turn around. Don't walk in there alone. And I was like, again, there's not even a brown bunny character in this book. And the thing is that, I mean, let's be real. At least if there was a brown bunny character in this book, you're like, stuff really hasn't hit the fan as long as they're still around, because you and I both know that us brown bunnies are always the first to go. It does not matter. Books, movies, always the first to go. So as long as we're still around, stuff hasn't really hit the fan. You still have a chance of living. The moment we go, stuff has just hit the fan. Get your track shoes on. It is time to run, because it's going down, because one of y'all are about to get it. One of y'all are about to get it. So it's like they didn't even have a brown bunny to like guide them, so that way they knew when the real danger was gonna come. I mean, there was just them, and you know, it was dangerous from the start. They should have never got off that freeway, and they should have actually got gas at the gas station instead of getting snacks. But again, that's what happens with kids. Kids don't think, and when they don't think, bad things happen to them. I'm talking about bad things happen to them, cringeworthy things where you're like, oh, where you can feel what's happening to them. Oh, just thinking about it just making me, oh, okay. I've spent far too much time on this, guys. Please, please, please go pick up Creed. It is an absolutely fantastic book. It is written impeccably. It really, really is creepy and horrifying and very Stephen King-ish. And again, if you're looking for an October read, which is coming up in just a couple of months, definitely get this book, because you will not regret it. If you read Creed, let me know in the information. If you read Creed, let me know in the comment box down below. If you liked it, if you want to read Creed, let me know in the comment box down below. If you've heard anything about Creed, let me know in the comment box down below, and let's have a little chitsy chat about it, because I think that's an absolutely fantastic book. So guys, thanks so much for coming past and hanging out with me, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye guys, love you.